Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here for KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Whitney Ward. We begin tonight as one man is now in custody after police say he sexually assaulted a woman walking her dog in downtown Spokane last week. 18-year-old Ethan Jake was arrested today. The victim says he approached her while she was walking near First Avenue early Monday morning and struck up a conversation with her. She says he then tackled her to the ground and raped her. The woman fought back, though, and managed to injure her attacker, causing him to then run away. Police say they were able to track the suspect down with video evidence. They say when they found him, there were multiple items there linking him to the attack. Jake was booked into the Spokane-County Jail on second-degree rape charges. Another developing story we are tracking at this hour. Sandpoint police have charged a Sandpoint High School student after making threats to shoot up the school on social media. Some SHS students were the first to report the video to the school administration. The threat was made on TikTok, where one student spoke about being upset with another student and then threatened to bring a gun to shoot up the school. At this hour, we have not gotten any kind of statement from the school district. Again, though, this is a developing story. We'll make sure to bring you updates as soon as we have them. Drivers and people who use the sidewalk are navigating a new traffic change once again in the Thor-Freya construction area. Starting today, Hartson is closed from Thor to Rebecca. So crews are checking water and sewer systems around the area of Freya and Hartson. The city says it has been decades since crews last reviewed them. As a detour now, road signs are encouraging local commuters to use 8th Avenue. The project actually started at the end of March. It has since caused a lot of headaches for drivers, business owners, and homeowners in that area. One person says navigating the ongoing construction has been just as difficult for her on the sidewalks on her scooter.
There are 3 ways over to Thor, but I cannot use them because the sidewalks and streets are torn up. So now I go up Freya to 8th Street and then cross over. And there have been times that I've had to drive my scooter in traffic on Thor to get across the street to get to the curb cuts.
Wow. City Communications Manager Kirsten Davis says spring rain actually delayed the project a bit, but she says it is still on track to finish by the end of this year's construction season, probably sometime in November. She says the project could be done in 30 to 45 days. And another project that you should be aware of, there will be nightly lane closures on I-90 for the next few days. Starting today through Wednesday, the left 2 lanes of eastbound I-90 between the 195 interchange and Hamilton Street, those lanes will be closed from 7 p.m. until 5:30 a.m. The Department of Transportation says that they will be doing maintenance work on the highway there, so make sure and allow for a little extra time to get through that particular area, and of course make sure to slow down for those work crews. The Spokane Police Department has a warning for drivers. Starting today, officers are going to crack down on speeders in 3 new school zones. So here's what you can expect as they get a little closer to those school zones. Signs like that one warning people to slow down for safety reasons. So a camera will capture a picture of your license plate if you're going over the speed limit. Then you'll get a ticket in the mail. So cameras in school zones are not a new concept, of course. Several years ago, Spokane City Council voted in support of those cameras after one student was seriously hurt by a speeding vehicle. Back then, cameras were added throughout the city in 2015 and again in 2017. Now, with the start of this school year, 3 new cameras have been added into the mix. They are located on Bernard, Regal, and Ray, all up on the South Hill, which brings a total of 8 cameras located within 7 different school zone areas of the city. SPD says the faster someone goes through a school zone, the more dangerous it could be if there was a crash.
If you're going 30 miles an hour, now it's a 50% chance that that pedestrian won't survive, and at 40 miles an hour, we're looking at an 80 to 90% chance that that pedestrian would not survive that collision. So we looked at these as a way to reduce the risk for our school children as they're coming and going to school every day, and help bring awareness to people about what their speeds are going through these school zones.
So she adds those cameras are effective, explaining that 90% of people who end up paying those tickets do not get another one. By the way, the price for a violation could cost you anywhere from $217 up to $450. You have about 15 days to contact the court to take care of that ticket. If you don't, then you'll be sent to collections, and replacement license plates could be held against you in the future. All right, let's switch gears now. Let's talk about weather. It is a beautiful day, and look at that fall color on the trees there. We're definitely starting to see that, but the fun part is we get to enjoy the fall color and the beautiful sunshine and the warm temperatures. So let's switch things over to meteorologist Michelle Boss for what looks to be a beautiful work week.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about the weather, and then on the other hand, not much to say. In other words, there's not going to be a whole lot of changes from day to day, but the big weather picture is above average temperatures and weather that's not really typical of October. Usually we see a steep drop in our temperatures this time of the year and a lot more wet weather, but certainly not this week. 79 right now in Spokane. I'm sure in downtown Spokane, parts of the Spokane Valley, they're right around 80 degrees, 77 in Coeur d'Alene, and lower 80s across much of central Washington, also 81 in Lewiston. And of course, plenty of sunshine to speak of. Satellite and radar pictures showing no wet weather anywhere across the inland northwest and hardly a cloud in the sky either. So this is a look at our temperature trend over the next week. You know, we may see a degree change here or there, but really no big changes for the next 7 days. And that keeps our temperatures 10 to 15 degrees above average. In the short term forecast, though, sunset is now before 6:30. And so we will see a pretty big cool down for the evening hours, temperatures in the mid 60s by 8 p.m. And then plenty of sunshine over the next 3 days, 78 Tuesday, 78 Wednesday, and a big warm up to 79 on Thursday.
Looks practically perfect. Thank you very much. In other top stories at this hour, the man accused of shooting a Washington state trooper faced a judge this afternoon. Brandon O'Neill was arraigned on charges of first-degree murder and attempting to elude police. Actually, it's first-degree attempted murder and attempting to elude police. So 2 weeks ago, Trooper Dean Atkinson was on his patrol in Walla Walla when he was shot in the face. O'Neill is currently in custody. His bond has been set at $1 million. We do know the trooper is back home with his family now. He was honored by his fellow troopers as he walked out of the doors of Harborview Medical Center in Seattle yesterday. He still has a long road to recovery ahead of him, but he is getting help from his family, friends, and colleagues. Today, we know the families of the victims in a deadly float plane crash will conduct their own investigation. The NTSB has now recovered 6 bodies from that wreckage in the bottom of the Puget Sound. We know of 5 victims who have been identified, although authorities are not sharing those names just yet. Crews found about 80% of the plane wreckage so far, including the engine, the wing, the propeller, and gearbox. 9 adults and 1 child were on board when that float plane crashed. An attorney representing the victims' families is hoping the NTSB will wrap up its investigation quickly so the families can then start their own.
NTSB conclusions are not admissible in court because those conclusions and that system relies on the manufacturers and carriers, not the families, in the investigation.
The plane did not have a flight data recorder, as it is not required on that type of plane, but officials say it could take up to 2 years to determine an official cause of that crash. 2 people have died after a fatal motorcycle crash in Bonner County last night. A 66-year-old man and 63-year-old woman were traveling south on Highway 41 when they lost control of their motorcycle. Police say they ran off the road and into the tree line. Both riders were then thrown from the bike and died there at the scene of the crash. The victims have not yet been identified. It is confirmed the Bolt Creek fire near Stevens Pass was human-caused. Right now, that fire's grown to more than 12,000 acres. It's just 28% contained at this hour. Officials say it will take weeks to determine exactly how and where it started, but the Western Washington Incident Management Team says it was caused by humans. In regional news, Chad Daybell now looking to distance himself from his wife, Lori Vallow, ahead of their trial, which is set to begin next January. Both are currently facing charges following the death of 2 of her children, JJ and Tylee. They are also facing charges as Daybell's first wife, Tammy, was killed. Our Phoenix station has the latest now on what Daybell's attorney is requesting.
Chad Daybell trying to distance himself from his wife and alleged co-conspirator Lori Vallow Daybell. His attorney filing to sever the cases ahead of a joint trial scheduled for January. The couple is facing serious charges in Idaho connected to the deaths of Lori's kids Tylee and JJ, and also the death of Chad's first wife Tammy Daybell. They've both pleaded not guilty to the charges against them, and both are facing the death penalty. But Chad's attorney is now arguing that Chad can't have a fair trial with Lori, claiming in part that one of his potential defenses could be blaming everything on Lori and her brother Alex Cox. Chad Daybell's attorney says he would introduce, quote, prior bad acts to show Lori and her brother had been conspiring without Chad, referencing a death investigation into Lori's former husband, Charles Vallow. In that case, Chandler police said Lori's brother shot and killed Charles Vallow back in July 2019. Police determined Lori, her brother, and Chad plotted to kill Charles Vallow, but the county attorney's office only filed the charge against Lori in that case. Investigators also believe Alex Cox played a role in the deaths and disappearances of Tylee and JJ. Cox can't be charged because he died at his home in Gilbert in December 2019, the medical examiner determining he died of natural causes. Chad Daybell's attorney tried once before to sever the cases, and a judge denied it. This time, he also filed to push Chad's trial back to at least October of next year. It will be up to a judge to determine what happens next. Erica Stapleton, 12 News.
Well, tonight we have an update in the case of a Moses Lake man suspected of killing his wife. We've learned that tomorrow morning, Charles Bergman is scheduled to be brought back to Washington to face charges. He was arrested last week in Pennsylvania. He and his wife were both reported missing by their family after last being seen at the Spokane airport. His wife's body was then found in a remote field in Lincoln County, while Bergman was found several days later on the other side of the country. So take a look at your screen. This is just one of 6 billboards making their way across the University of Idaho campus. They belong to a nonprofit organization known as Mayday Health. The organization says it wants university students there in Idaho to know about safe abortion access despite the state's new trigger laws banning abortion. Last week, the university announced it is restricting birth control access on campus. University leaders announced faculty and staff can no longer offer referrals about abortion, promote birth control services, or express their opinions about any of it. The university says it's to give guidance to employees on how to navigate the challenging law so they don't face criminal charges. In response, Mayday Health hired a digital billboard truck to drive through campus.
It's a university setting. Students should not be afraid. Staff should not be afraid around this. This is simple, accessible health information that has been widely available for decades. There's no reason they should be afraid to talk about it or learn about it. All these medications have been FDA approved for a minimum of decades. Limiting free speech is simply not acceptable.
Right now, there are 6 slides rotating on that traveling billboard. They include slides saying, "Be conservative, use birth control." After the break, if you ride the bus in Spokane, the way you pay is changing. We're breaking down STA's new Connect fare system when we come back. And a little later in our 4:30 newscast, we're taking a look at the current state of Spokane's housing market, where Washington ranks nationally when it comes to just how expensive it is to buy a home.